Bone broth is super healthy, super healing for you, which, side note, is why I just recorded Real Wellness Podcast episode 28 of How Does Bone Broth Make You Feel Amazing? But I was always intimidated as to how to make it, for that matter, even how to cook a chicken so I could get the bones. So that's what we're talking about in this particular episode, is all the ways to make bone broth so that it's not intimidating for you. Welcome, I'm Sheri Traxler with Nourish Your Life, author of Go Forward, 28 Days to Eat, Move, and Enjoy Life God's Way. This one's about the eating. So, cooking chicken is actually not as hard as what I thought it was. You take a chicken, just like you would a turkey, but you take a chicken and either on a broiler pan or just inside the pan. It's probably clanging really loud for you, sorry about that. Or what you would cook a turkey in. And tip on this, we line with aluminum foil so that it makes for easy cleanup. And you just cook it in the oven somewhere around 400 degrees until the thigh is about 170. I probably have these numbers wrong, so I'll put it on the screen. The Joy of Cooking book, one of my favorites for learning this type of cooking, is where I got my information of, okay, how do I cook a chicken? And it's not as difficult as what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be this big production like in cooking a turkey. It's not. It's easy. Once you have the chicken cooked and you've eaten all the chicken off of it and now you've got the chicken bones, now what do you do with it to make bone broth? Well, I went to grab Bone Deep Broth to share with you some of their ideas of making bone broth. And while I did that, I went ahead and grabbed my Joy of Cooking book. So I'm just going to go ahead and read the directions to you. Not all of them, but cooking on 400 degrees, a whole chicken, the thigh 170 to 175 to make sure that it's cooked through. And for the first 4 pounds, it's going to be right at an hour. And then for every pound over that, another 8 minutes. We find it actually takes a little bit longer than that to get the internal temperature where we want it, so we know it's cooked through and safe. But you're looking at somewhere around an hour and 15 minutes for a chicken. Well, let's now talk Bone Deep Broth. This is a fantastic book. This book, Bone Deep Broth, is top of the line for knowing what to do for bone broth. They've got everything in here from how to get started, all the different additions you can add, including turmeric, which was something a podcast listener said that she added. Different pictures, beautiful, and then recipes from things you can eat, things you can drink, all kinds of things to do with your bone broth. Definitely worth getting this book. For today's, I'm just going to keep it really easy. I have pulled off celery tops. We have leftover, this is from any time I'm cooking through the week, through the month, and I'm taking onion tops, celery tops, anything like that, carrot tops, putting that in a bag in the freezer, and then saving all the chicken bones. Now I'm going to get the crock pot out and go on to step 2. First is take the bigger chicken bones, put in the bottom. That's going to be 3 whole chicken bodies, and then where a lot of the good marrow is going to come from are, well, that was fun, are the leg bones. We'll save the rest of this for later. Now let's add in the flavor: celery, onions. I even have down in here some leek tops. Now, do not tell my husband that he is going to be having leeks, because he hates the idea of leeks. Those celery bottoms you usually throw away, perfect. Even little mini bell pepper tops. The fresh celery. This will cook down. Cover with water, which I need a little bit more. Add a quarter to a half cup of apple cider vinegar. Turn it on high until it begins to boil, and then you'll turn it down to low for 24 to 72 hours. Step number 3 is eat it. Seriously, what do we do with this? Because now you've got all these bones, all this mess. Yes, that was part of the intimidating part for me. It also is really simple. One, if before you do this, if you want more of the marrow, you just can break the bones, especially if they're chicken bones. Beef bones, a lot of the marrow is already going to be coming out of there. But chicken bones, those thigh bones, break them up, allow the marrow to come out, and then you get a strainer, you get the bowl, and for the purist, I know that you're thinking, why don't you have a glass bowl? Because I don't have glass bowls this big yet. But we will. We'll get there. But plastic for now. Though, do make sure it's cooled off before you put it in plastic. Definitely. So you just scoop it out, put it into here so that it drains through. Then you have all these bones that get thrown out. We put them in a Kroger bag, a grocery sack, and that reuses those plastic bags and gets them thrown away for a good purpose. The broth is then lidded and put in the fridge. Now, I will say this, a lot of times we have to keep putting more water in the crock pot. One, because it kind of boils away, but two, because at 24 hours, even if we're not ready to store it yet, we're always dipping into it and having a little cup of it. So yeah, you'll be tempted to do the same. So if you want to know all the benefits, head over to my Real Wellness Podcast, episode 28, and you can discover all of the healing benefits. And then you can just simply make some. I hope that this has inspired you to not be intimidated like I was on making this. Thanks so much for joining me today. Let me know how you use bone broth, maybe if there's a favorite recipe that you have with it. Thanks so much for being here. And until next time, find your path and fulfill your unique potential.